Hello again. Yes, it's the Joker on day 9. So, what we've been doing is I've been digging into Microsoft 365 a little bit, trying to talk about some business-related stuff as well. Sort of unpicking some of the challenges of building out a small business, right? It's not easy. Cash flow is the number one thing you're going to have to watch. Yes, I'm a tech guy and I'm talking about cash and money and all that sort of stuff. This is really, really important. But it also brings to a point of how do you actually manage all the things that you need from a business. Now we've got, obviously I've spoken about the need for having a good accountant to manage your tax affairs. I've talked about MSPs or managed service providers that can help service your technology bases. You're going to probably engage business coaches and others that are going to help with that. You may even engage outsource lead and appointment setters and a variety of other services that are going to help build your business. So this is important because what we need to be mindful of is how all of these things and all these people work together, right? It's really, really important that, yes, from a business sense, you can just, form partnerships and relationships and all of that sort of stuff. But we've got to be realistic and understand that all of these systems, all of these organizations are going to be using different systems, different processes, different tools, right? How are we connecting that data together? Because now it's not just your business and your business ecosystem we need to deal with. We have to deal with a partner's ecosystem. Your accountant, your business coach, your lead setters, your outsourced agencies, your technologists, whoever it might be that you're working with. How do we keep everyone together on a nice little page? How do we keep those systems together and make it easier for us to work together? Now, again, as I mentioned previously, it would be just you'd fill a contract out between the two, manage maybe a managed services agreement in terms of how you're going to work together, all the do's and the don'ts and the things that you don't do, and etc. And that's great from an organizational, operational perspective. But what about those technology systems that you've got sitting underneath that's making this work? Are you going to make changes to your security profile that says, well, you're a trusted partner, so how can I make it easier for us to collaborate together? For example, in the Microsoft space, we have this ability of setting up different trust relationships and such like with different rules for organizations or people with different domains, right? That's how we can tell who's who in the zoo, if you like, around that. So by setting these external controls, we can make it easier so that, let's say, for example, as part of my business, I have my Azure AD that I log in with. Azure AD is our identity manager, right? It proves who I am, or I put my password and all that sort of stuff in. And we have another requirement for multi-factor authentication. Long term for basically a little thing on your phone that basically says, can you prove who you really say you are? You might see it realized via a text message from your bank or something like that. That's multi-factor authentication, right? So you put your username, your password, and then there's some other mechanism to just validate that you are who you say you are. Right, cool. Now the thing is that when you have these controls within a business context, is that it's quite often that you'll insist that you have to use your authenticator to better do that. So you'll have your, as in, so for example, if I try to log into Microsoft systems as a partner, we have access, I have to then put a code that's been special generated just for their environment. Now, if we went a next step along, we could set up some trust arrangements, which means some technical bits going on in the background that says, I am going to trust the MFA or the multi-factor authenticator of that partner. So I don't have to go through that process. The other thing, it can allow easier access via apps and other sorts of things to make that connection between the organizations much more streamlined. Now, a lot of people don't know that that's possible. So therefore, if you don't know it's possible, you're not going to ask. And this is this is really what I want to try to cover off in these videos, is try to give as much information around what's possible so that you know what you don't know and then can start asking some good questions. And this is important so when you ask your technical team or your service provider to be able to help, they don't just give you the doe-eyed look and going, I don't know what you're talking about, right? Because a lot of these organizations, unfortunately, aren't going to prompt you, do you need X, do you need Y? They're going to wait for you to tell them. So, just to finish off on this one and this little piece, really what I'm trying to cover off is that when you're building out your business, you're going to have lots and lots of business partners. Not only do you have to think about how we're going to solve that from a business perspective and a legal perspective, but how are you going to make it so that the technology that you are all using plays nice together? And this even may be that if you're using one set of technology services and your business partner uses another, you may actually ask, is that the right partner for me? Because really, we want to try to make it as easy for everyone to work together, not harder.